What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Venator Trading 10K to $2 million funding challenge. It's Tuesday, August 15th, 7 a.m. New York time. So good morning to everyone here waking up on the States. Good afternoon to everyone over on the other side of the pond, and good evening to everyone on the other side of the world. Glad you guys are back. The 10K to $2 million funding challenge, sponsored by the Bespoke Funding Program, where you can buy any challenge and use the discount code Venator and get 15% off and 85% lifetime profit split. So welcome back, guys. Hope you had a great day yesterday. This is the trade on Eurodollar that we were hoping to get, but you can see it. I just opened the charts literally like 10 minutes ago, and this is what we called on the live stream yesterday. It would have worked. It didn't get triggered until 12:45, which is well after our window to take a trade. But again, you can just see it came right back up to that breaker. Tapped right into the fair value gap, right at 50% of the breaker, and then gave you your easy 1 to 2 right there. So, we don't take trades after our windows, but it's always good to see when your analysis is correct and when the setup actually works. And it's a good visual reminder that when you see them work, even if they're outside of your rules or your session or your trading window, whatever that is, when you see your setup work, it just reinforces your confidence when you see it come up again in your ability to be able to execute that, and trust and know that over time these setups are going to be profitable for you. So that was off of yesterday's breaker block. It just ran as typical fashion recently. When it does break out, it breaks out hard and fast. And, is what it is. But nice looking setup there. We've since pulled back. We failed to take out this swing low, this 4-hour swing low here. And we've now moved back up. We're at an OTE area of this leg down. And I am still more bearish, currently short-term bearish on Eurodollar. So I still think we might see this swing low get taken out this week. So we haven't tapped back into this 4-hour breaker block. We're tapping into this 4-hour breaker block really right now. But this is the one that I was anticipating that we could get a high of the week here. And, if Monday's high was right here, maybe you get a push up into this breaker and then it rolls over again. And we start aiming for these relative equal lows down here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, potentially. So we'll see how that plays out, but it was interesting that they came right up to this liquidity and then they left it. And that's often the case when they want to run it. They will come right to it and stop, and then they'll pull back a little bit, and then they'll make a more aggressive move through it. So I don't know that that's what's going to happen. That's kind of where I'm inclined, much like yesterday, still a little short-term bearish here on Euro, which would be bullish dollar. And you can see did the same thing here on the dollar, just opposite direction because they are correlated. It left these relative highs in place here, took out this one little swing level right there, but it left those up there. So we'll see how it goes. We did close outside of that daily fair value gap yesterday, and you can see, just beautifully when we opened and we've dropped down and retested that daily fair value gap, that imbalance. And this now becomes an inverted daily fair value gap. And you would expect price to continue to, if it comes back down into here, to hold price up now inside that area. You do have a new daily fair value gap inside this old fair value gap that we just violated. So maybe this inverted fair value gap, if you get any kind of pullback in the dollar, I would look to see it pause and hold up inside of that new imbalance inside there. But these relative equal highs are, I think, where we're going to be. That's, I think, going to be the next draw on liquidity. Could be wrong. My analysis is not perfect. My bias is not always perfect, but these certainly yesterday's high will be the first area of interest. But if we take out yesterday's low, I would anticipate a failure to displace below there. Just tap into this, and then it's going to come back up. So that's kind of what is going to draw and push all of our decision making, and at least for me, my decision making on setups and what direction I'm going to be looking for them on dollar correlated pairs there. So we'll see how that plays out. GBP also came down, took out this low yesterday and failed to displace below it and has reversed. It did leave the this lower swing in place, basically creating relative equal lows. It did tap into that, and we've since pushed back up pretty good. This is basically relative equal. They don't have to be perfect to be relative. Relative equal lows is relative. It means they're not going to be to the pip. So it did tap into that just a little bit. I would anticipate now with these relative equal lows here, there's a lot of liquidity now up under here as people are trading this as a failure to displace, and they're going to anticipate a reversal here. I would be more inclined to think that these get run. These were a pause before this major swing level on the daily time frame gets run here. So this is the swing level that if we're going to continue down, it needs to displace through, not this level. All of this right here is inside of this dealing range. This leg up is the dealing range that we have been in since the middle of July. So all of this leg up, this new higher high, we have not taken out that low that impulse move created. This is the low that needs to be broken and traded through for a change in market structure. This is all still inside this dealing range. Okay. So that's why my liquidity level is at right here, and them again leaving it much like euro dollar, leaving that in place, coming down right close to it, tapping into an intermediate term, short term low there. This is your draw on external liquidity, and we left it in place. We came right up to it and left it in place. That's why I still believe, even if we see a higher price today, I think this is the draw on liquidity that we're looking at reaching towards. All right, let's jump in over to the chat. Say good morning to a few people. H, good morning. Beeswax, John Jones, Cisco. Cisco, how's that challenge going, man? Give us an update. Deadpool, good morning. LOL. Alpha Bridge, Adrian, Mr. Alfie, Muhammad. Good evening, sir. Matthew, good morning. I guess he's coming back. Bilemansky, David Dreams, good morning. Duck Tung Lu, good morning. Do you trade through today's red folder news? I'm not sure. It just depends on the setup I get beforehand. The retail sales numbers I have traded through before in the past. So we'll see. We'll see. It just depends on what kind of setup I get. If when it comes, how early it comes, how close it is before the news hits, if we are in a trade or not. So we'll just have to wait and see. Trying to decide if I hold NU short through it or not. I mean, I guess it just depends on where I was in the trade. If you're in profit pretty well, maybe consider going to break even before that news hits. But if you're right around break even, I'd probably close it out. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're decently in profit, it might make sense just to move to break even, and then whatever happens, happens. Good morning, Michael Dahl and Emmanuel and Surya Dev. Welcome in, guys. Go ahead and hit that like button for me over there. First thing, let's get that out of the way. You guys can help out. I did make some progress yesterday on the Discord channel. I think it's going to be up and running here maybe by the end of today, but probably by tomorrow. So I will definitely, follow me on Twitter, because I'll be putting out, once it's up and running, I'll be putting out a little link over there to jump in there and join and see how that goes. I'll probably tap a couple of you guys who are willing and have experience doing moderator stuff. I may tap a couple of you guys on the shoulder to jump in there and just, help keep things clean and orderly and making sure it doesn't get too rowdy or whatever. So we'll see how that goes, but that's definitely coming. I think it's time for all of us just to be able to have an off-stream conversation and be helpful and, just keep more of that community vibe going for everyone. So we'll get that up and going here. I think if it's not today, it should be Wednesday for sure. So we will do another 10K challenge giveaway this week on Friday again. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, if it's going to be a YouTube, if it's going to be a tweet, or if it's just inside here like we did last week. I don't know. We'll see. I need to look. We are at 839 subscribers on YouTube. I'd love to get to 1,000. I just don't know. I don't know that that's going to happen quickly. Another 160 people. Probably not this week. But, it's getting there. It's a big goal of mine that will allow to do the full monetization on YouTube and all that good stuff. So that'll be cool. But I need to find a way to maybe just get some more people to sub to that. So maybe we'll do the giveaway around the sub again. So last time it didn't really, I think maybe we gained, the last time I did that, we only picked up like maybe 50, 30 or 40, maybe not even that many. Maybe it's closer to 20. I need to go back and look, but we are steadily picking up 5 to 10 a day, which is kind of cool. More people are subbing to the channel and checking it out. So probably if I produced more like long form content and put more videos out, either shorts or just other videos, I just don't know what to do. I honestly don't know. This is the part of the social media journey for me that's a struggle. It's like, I don't know what kind of content to put out there. I could make up strategies and just do strategy videos, but there already is a ton of them out there. So I don't know. If there's something specific that that I have a specific angle or a unique angle on, or know how to discuss or talk about from a position of authority, then I'll consider it. But if I don't, then I'm content with just making the live streams, the content here. So but we'll see. All right, so jumping down here into the 15-minute time frame. You can see we've had this night. We ran sell side liquidity. We really didn't have much here in the London session. You did have a teeny little tiny draw on liquidity right there at 2 o'clock where we tapped into some sell side and then displaced. We came back down. If you wanted to call that a breaker, that's great, but not a really good true breaker here. We've tapped into buy side liquidity. And now we're moving lower. So again, it's similar to yesterday. For me, I'm going to want to see, some of these candles get displaced through, whether it's that one or whether it's, I kind of think it'd be that one, but maybe that one. Or maybe even this one down here. These could all potentially be used as breakers. This candle obviously was the last down close candle that ran this buy side liquidity. One of these, this is the swing leg that ran the most recent buy side liquidity. So if we can get some displacement lower through there again, like we did yesterday, I'll be looking for that setup on GU and EU. Also very similar vibe. We've taken out this buy side liquidity. We've taken out that buy side liquidity. We rebalanced, tapped into the top of that this daily fair value gap here. So far, bullish PD arrays are being respected. That means we've started on a 15-minute time frame trending up. So the question becomes, are we going, maybe with news, I don't know, do we pop up into this 4-hour fair value gap? We didn't quite touch it over here yesterday before we had the big sell-off. So I'm wondering again, do we come up into that, or is this enough buy side liquidity that we've tapped into all of this in here, these highs, this high, and now we get some displacement through. So we'll be watching these down close candles. If they get violated and we get displacement through them, that will be our cue to target this strong liquidity down here for euro dollar. GJ, again, just in this massive bullish uptrend. It has been for a very long time. On the daily time frame, again, you can see we're in this uptrend. We've had 2 weeks basically of just straight bullish price action. We've tapped, definitely have cleared this new high and displaced through it. We keep displacing through highs here. So until you get some kind of lower time frame or like a 4-hour confirmation, until these lows get displaced through, these lows get displaced through, you're not really looking to take any kind of a short here. So you're going to want to see setups that allow you to keep going along on GJ. All the yen pairs are strong. So GJ, UJ, EJ, the yen has just been real weak and continues to show that that's not going to be a change unless the Bank of Japan steps in and does something crazy. You would anticipate that trend to continue. So we'll continue to watch and wait and see. For instance, you're getting a run on liquidity here on the 1 hour. There's a lot of nice relative equal lows. There's juicy sell side liquidity all over on GJ. So, I mean, I know it looks very tempting to take some of those counter trend trades, and you can. If your system allows you to take counter trend trades, then you are more than welcome to attempt that. I would wait until we see some of that liquidity grabbed and then displace higher to start a new leg. That's what I want to see from GJ. So if it can run down, it's already cleared out some of this. Maybe it makes a deeper run, levels out, one more stab, and then breaks up. Then you could look for new highs to be formed and try to find a breaker off of that. I'm sure there's going to be good counter trend opportunities on this to take out some sell side liquidity. If it wants to keep running higher aggressively, it's going to need to retrace at some point to pick up liquidity. So that's what we'll be waiting and watching for. Dollar CAD also has news this morning along with the dollar. The CAD news is the inflation rate, and so that's going to have a big impact on CAD today. When it comes out at 8:30, you can see the dollar has been very strong against the CAD for the last several weeks. We're trading through this breaker block right now on the daily time frame. So we're just going to watch and wait. If we're bullish dollar like we are with the other foreigns, then we're going to want to see 1 hour. We had a little quick draw on sell side liquidity here, and we've displaced through. This could be an interesting spot if you get any weakness off of this imbalance in here, potentially off of that this breaker right there. You might find something. there's nothing super clear here right now. There's no recent, like in the last few hours, there's no recent run on sell side liquidity. It was down here this morning on the London session. We reached in, grabbed some sell side, displaced up. We've had no pullback into any breaker opportunity there. So maybe with the news, you get that, you get a stab down. I don't know. I'm just going to watch that and see. I think I would probably prefer to see a fresh run on liquidity and then displace up in line with my dollar bias being bullish. US 30 here, still in consolidation. Yesterday took out yesterday's high, fell to displace above. We've now taken out yesterday's low. I'm sorry. Monday's candle took out Friday's high. We fell to displace and close above that high, which then would immediately draw your eye to Monday's low, which we've already taken out. And now you have this whole swing level here, a lot of liquidity built up underneath there. This daily fair value gap is what we pointed to earlier on Monday. Yesterday, we pointed this out and said, this is probably our draw on liquidity. Our initial draw on liquidity for the week, I think, is this daily fair value gap. So could be today, could be tomorrow. Maybe we're range bound and then we get a pop down. We will watch and wait that. I'm definitely more bearish than anything here. We can obviously see just a lot of chop. Nothing super clean in there. Maybe if you see a pop up into some of these imbalances and then to get displacement down before it taps into here, we might find an opportunity. You can see we ran all of this buy side. We tapped into it here and then displaced through. So you could potentially identify these candles right here inside this displacement area, this imbalance, this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. So the SIBI is SIBI. That's what ICT refers to these as. These are massive imbalances here. A sell side imbalance, buy side has not been offered, so it's inefficient. So potentially a stab up into there, into this breaker, into these fair value gaps, and then we target that draw on liquidity down there. So kind of eyeballing that as well. All right, there's our pairs. That's what we're kind of watching and waiting on. We do have news. We have the retail sales numbers coming out today. We also have, there was one other one. Let me pull up my Empire State Manufacturing Index. That's what it was. So you have core retail sales, and then you have retail sales in the Empire State Manufacturing Index. So all listed as red folder news. All of those I've traded through before. And if we get a beautiful setup in the next, 2 to 3 15-minute candles, I would consider trading through those. So yeah, we're just going to watch and wait. Watch and wait. Let me go back over here to the chat, see what's going on. Anybody else popping in here? Mohammed Saim 84. Oh yeah, the subs. Okay. Backtesting video on FX replay would be great. I did think about that, and that could be very helpful. And I need to spend a little bit more time on there. But yes, a backtesting video or at least a strategy building video on FX replay would be nice. It's a great backtesting software. There's some things that I'm now seeing about it that I wish I could change or they could improve on. But overall, I'm very happy with FX replay right now. And I didn't do any other further backtesting this weekend on the strategy I've been working on. Just took some time off the charts. It's not something that I'm like trying to rush to market or anything like that. It's something that I'm just going to take my time with. And if it, whatever happens with it, happens with it. It may be something good. It may not. But you know what? I forgot to get that stupid watermark off of my webcam yesterday. And now it's back 2 days in a row. We're sponsoring XSplit VCam, evidently, now. For free, for nothing. So I can't let that happen, man. If they want that watermark, they're going to have to pay me. for all 23 of my regular viewers. I wonder how much they would give me. Maybe a quarter, 25 cents. Probably not much. But I'm glad you guys are back. Glad you're in. If there's anything in the any other charts you want to look at, any other pairs you want me to check out while we're sitting here waiting, more than happy to dive into that. So just throw it up in the chat, and we'll go from there. LOL says, yes, please. We need a back testing video. Let's see. I'm trying to think when I would even want to do that. Probably I don't know. Maybe this weekend. I might have time. Friday or Saturday this week. Maybe I can try to work on that. That's the other thing about the videos is I just it takes so much time for me. They take so much time for me to get to put them together, edit them. I need to get better at it. I don't really feel like paying someone to do it. It's not because I do so few of them. It's easier just for me to do them, but it just takes so much time. Oh, goodness. Hello, Texas team. Welcome in Trading Night. Are you a fan? LOL asks, are you a fan of the Gilded Gal? I'm not a huge fan. I haven't pulled up gold in a minute. It's been a few weeks since we've even opened the chart. It was one of our original pairs when I started the challenge. And then we just got into a fight, and we just stopped seeing eye to eye, and there were irreconcilable differences that we just it was a mutual parting of ways, and we've just kept our distance from each other. And so far it's worked out pretty well. I don't keep up with gold. I'm sure it's doing well. I know I'm doing well since the breakup. I haven't missed gold too much. I haven't really thought about it until, a random comment in the chat pops up here and there. But I do wish it well, and want nothing for the best for it, And, should our paths cross in the future, who knows what may come of that relationship again. But right now, there's still a lot of, just PTSD and from the toxic situation we were in. So we've just decided to kind of cut ties there for a little bit and let time heal the wounds. First loves, they those wounds cut the deepest. So just have to see what the future holds, but nothing but thoughts and prayers and good wishes for gold. So Brad, what's your thoughts on Aussie Swiss? Well, there's a minor cross if I've ever seen one. I certainly don't mind pulling it up. I'll give you my thoughts. Looks like we're coming back up into a breaker here on the 15-minute time frame. You've had this massive draw on liquidity get run on the buy side. This is without even looking at the higher time frames. You just have run on liquidity, displacement through. This run on liquidity started here. You could either use this big down close candle or this down close candle. Either way, you would want price to come back up into this range and then look for it to continue to roll over. Now, that's without a higher time frame bias here. It has tapped into sell side liquidity. But you did get the massive displacement down after running this. You stab this. This is where I would anticipate a sell. It looks like we are in a downtrend on the 4 hour, so I would just continue to look for some sells here. Definitely in a downtrend. Let's see, draws on liquidity. Are we at all-time lows? We're approaching all-time lows, it looks like. So that's from 2020, the pandemic. We're heading back down to that. This would be your next little swing level that you would be interested in. It's approaching. I would definitely be looking for sells here. And I would probably identify, off of this swing, this 50% area, somewhere up in here, I would be looking for a sell. It lines up with these breakers. It gets you back into a premium of this big leg down. It rebalances some of that inefficient price delivery. But I would be looking for some potential sells in there if it were me. That's Aussie Swiss. I would not be trying to go this. It's in a massive downtrend, so I definitely would not be taking a counter trend trade here, because any of these imbalances could be the one it decides to reverse at. So I would not be looking to go long there. John, when determining London high-low, how late can it get before it's not London anymore? Typically around that 4 to 4:30 hour is, or it's just the swing. I just look at where's the last swing. So this is 5:45. That's to me the most recent swing level. If that's created at 4, if that's created at 4:30 or 5 or whatever, that swing level is representative of the London. And then once we get into the New York session, that's what I would use. So here's your London session low. Even though this swing level was created after 2 a.m., I would use this low right here, the 130. There's your London session low. There's your London session high. So that's kind of what I would look at, John. At least for me. I don't know if everybody does it that way. I like to use the swing levels, not specific time candles. Venator, do you do break a structure, change a character? Only in the fact that I don't trade specifically off of them unless they're part of a breaker setup. So a break of structure is potentially a breaker setup. So in that fact, yes, I'm trading a break of structure. But I don't just trade any break of structure. I need to see buy side liquidity get run before that break of structure happens. So if we've seen buy side liquidity get run here, which we have, and then we get a break of structure, then I would try to look to make sure that it was displaced through on that break of structure. So it's a yes and no question, kind of, I guess is the best way. I don't just trade straight break of structure. Matthew, if you had to estimate, how long do you think it would take to complete this challenge from now? There are a lot of variables, I understand, so maybe if you had to overestimate it. It's still very possible for us to complete this challenge by the end of 2023. So obviously we're in the middle of a big drawdown phase. We've been in here for almost a month and a half, or a little over a month and a half. We're stuck on the 100K phase 1, the 10K phase 2. We're just stuck right here in this holding pattern right now. But that can change very quickly. We can go back on a pretty strong winning streak. And hit 3 or 4 trades in a row and get back on track, and then things can start moving. So realistically, the end of the year is still my goal to try to pass this challenge to get to $2 million in funding. If it obviously there's variables, obviously there's things that come up that you don't account for, that you can't foresee. So, I think when I put out my original video about this challenge, I said 6 to 9 months. If everything went perfect, it could have been done in 4.5 months. That's pretty much out the window now. I think 6 to 9 months is still in the realm of possibility. But if I were going to overestimate, I'd say, for sure sometime by the early spring of 2024 potentially. So maybe, definitely within a year of starting this. So we started in the middle of May this year. An overestimate would be, before a year passes, I would think we could get that done. So I still feel pretty confident that we can. It's only August. The fall trading conditions could completely change and pick up in our favor, and things just quickly turn around. The thing about this challenge is if I can get to an 8% payout on a 100K account, I will be able to purchase multiple 400K accounts. And then it's just passing one of those and getting them funded, and you're basically there. So it's kind of a very slow process in the beginning, because your payouts are only allowing you to buy slightly bigger accounts. But once you hit a 100K payout, a decent 100K payout, you're going to be able to ramp it up pretty quickly. So that's why I'm still pretty confident that we could hit this by the end of the year. And that's still my goal. That's still what I'm shooting for. I'm not going to let that pressure me into trying to take riskier decisions, or I'm going to trade the way I trade. And knowing the way that I trade is why I still think by the end of the year we could get there. Again, I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't. I can't control the market. I can't control the outcome of any individual trade. So I'm not going to be upset, but that's still the goal I have, and we'll see how close we get. Hell, we might end up blowing this funded account or this challenge or whatever, and have to start over with 10K by itself again. I don't know, but all of that. I'm not planning on going anywhere until I get there. So we'll just keep doing this. We'll keep doing this until we reach our goal. That's my plan. Do you trade every time you see your setup, regardless of time? No, it needs to be within a kill zone, the New York session specifically. If and when, and I am going to do a London session live stream. I know I keep telling you I am, and I never do it, but I will trade the London session, and as long as it's in the London session kill zone when I'm on the chart, then I'll take the setup. But otherwise, it's only between 7 a.m. New York time and 10:30, 11 o'clock. I have gotten into trades at 11. 10:30 is typically my cutoff, but typically around 10:30 a.m. New York time to 11 a.m. New York time. So I've got about a 3.5 hour window where if the setup forms, I'll take it, and if there's no setup there, no big deal. Come back tomorrow. The waves keep coming every single day. You can't share a link here, but you can DM me on Twitter, AlphaBridge, and then I can put the link in, but it's not set up for you guys to be able to post the links there. So, but you can DM me on Twitter, and then I can post it over there if it's something. What's the link for? Adam files. Wow, so you risk 2% per trade, 4% take profit. That's correct, Adam. So if you're new, Adam, welcome in. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Maybe I have. I don't realize that. But 2% per trade is based on my live market statistics for the last 100 trades. So if you don't have 100 trades data in your live market from a live market trading, you should not be risking more than 0.5%, max 1%. You need to have that data so that you can refine your trading plan. You can understand what your risk management is. You know what your win rate is. You know what your maximum losing streak is over those last 100 trades. With all of that information combined, now you can decide what an appropriate amount of risk is for you, what your risk appetite is. And so the way I do it is based on my maximum losing streak, which is 4 trades in a row with this system. Over my last 100 trades, I've never lost more than 4 trades in a row. That, I'm not saying that can't happen. I know that's a possibility, but I'm just going to use the data from the last 100 trades to set my risk appetite for passing challenges. So if I lose 4 in a row, my maximum drawdown is 10%. If I hit my maximum losing streak, I'm only going to be at 8% drawdown, which then I'll cut my risk in half, and that would still give me 2 more opportunities for winning trades to help pull us back out of drawdown again. So if you don't have the live market data, my advice is to never risk 2%. But if you have the data and you can see the stats and you know what the likelihood of your next 100 trades probabilistically, I'm not saying that right. If you know the probabilities over your next 100 trades and I know, look, we can't guarantee that the next 100 trades will have the exact same outcome as your last 100. But the more data you have, the more confidence you can put in your system to know that you should have similar results over your next 100 trades that you just had if you continue to execute the exact same way that you have been. So that's a little bit of a quick explanation of why we risk 2% here. Yes, so a TP would be a 4% profit gain. Shadow trades, why would you want to share a link here? LOL. Yeah, it just depends on what the link is. I don't know what you're wanting to share. May not. If it's like a chart file to like TradingView or something, you can just send me a screenshot. I'll look at it. Not getting a ton of movement or action here right now as we head into the 8 o'clock hour, getting ready. We have one more 15-minute candle here before we get into the 8 o'clock hour. So everything's just kind of slowed down quite a bit, and we've just not had any kind of, there's no current momentum in any direction. So could be that news is just could be the moving factor here. Oh. I did see I see John in there, and I did see, John, that My Funded Futures plans on launching, I think around August 20th, I think is the tweet that I saw, or the 22nd, or I don't know, sometime before August ends. I think My Funded Futures is going to be launching. So if you're a futures trader, I'd be real interested to see. It's the same company. It's My Funded FX. They're starting a futures prop firm, specific futures prop firm called My Funded Futures. And that will be I think it'll be a pretty good shakeup to the industry. If they can bring this same kind of disruption that they brought to the Forex space prop firms, if they can bring that same the same new parameters and industry changing options, it'll be pretty cool. So it's definitely going to be something I'm going to watch and, potentially participate in. We'll see. But I'm very interested to see what their challenges are going to look like. Are they going to have ongoing subscription fees, which I think most futures firms do. But we'll see. I think I said that they weren't going to have any daily drawdown limits. I think that's one perk I did see from them is no daily drawdown limit. I might be wrong, but I think that's coming in the next week and a half or so. I think they were having problems integrating Trade-of-8 and NinjaTrader based on the volume of people they were expecting to use their firm. I think Trade-of-8 and NinjaTrader were both like, I don't know that we can handle that volume. So we'll have to see. I can't remember what platform they were trying to use. I know AMP. I think they just said AMP had reached out to them as a possible platform for execution, but we'll see. We do have some news in about 45 minutes coming up. We've got retail sales for the dollar, and we've got the inflation rate for USD CAD. The Canadian dollar has its inflation rate coming out. So we'll see. Both of those will impact 3 out of the 4 pairs that we're watching currently. So to cancel all pending orders before news. It depends on what the news is. But yes, if I had not been triggered in, most likely I would cancel and just wait for the news to pass and see what happens. I'm contemplating reaching out to a couple of other traders that I think are good traders, and seeing if they would be willing to come on a live stream here and do like a co-live stream one day. Look at the charts together, get their take on trading strategy, psychology, trade management, challenges, prop firms, all of that. I think that would be pretty cool. It would be a nice way to do kind of an interview / podcast type style interview while the live market's going on. And, maybe take some trades together or listen to how they call trades or what they see. Just expose you guys to some more people. And I think that would be kind of cool, but I don't know who to reach out to first. I don't know who would be great on here, or who would even be interested in coming on. Mr. Alfie says, do you trade futures in the same way as Forex? In other words, yes, the same strategies, exact same strategies. All of these strategies are based on liquidity and the way that the market moves, and the market needs to deliver efficient price action. So the algorithm can move quickly into liquidity, but will often come back to rebalance price before it continues on. And so the breaker specifically it's all based on liquidity grabs and rebalancing of inefficient price action. So that theory, the smart money concept theory, which is efficient price delivery, that's liquidity and efficient price delivery. That's pretty much what smart money concepts are all about. Where's liquidity? It wants to grab it and then move away from it. And then as it moves away, if it creates imbalances or inefficient price delivery, you can anticipate a return to those areas before price moves on. So any market, any asset, all of these strategies will work. Optimal trade entries, fair value gaps, order blocks, breaker blocks, consequent encroachment, all of the same things that you guys, if you follow ICT and smart money concepts, that you've probably heard talked about. John, please don't roll your eyes, but what exactly does no daily drawdown mean? The no daily drawdown limit means that, so prop firms typically will have two drawdowns that if you violate them, you breach the account. One is an overall account drawdown, meaning, let's say, for instance, on this current challenge that I'm in right now, the overall maximum drawdown is 10%. If I violate that, if I go over 10% drawdown, I have breached the account, I lose, I have to start over. They also have a daily loss limit of 5%. So basically they're saying if you lose more than 5% in one day, then you have violated the account. Even if you don't breach the overall 10% maximum, if you violate the daily maximum of 5%, you breach the account. So if a firm says we have no daily drawdown limit, it means that we're only going to hold you to the maximum account drawdown. If you violate the maximum, you can lose up to, in any one day, you can lose up to the maximum drawdown limit. So that's what they're saying, is there won't be any maximum daily drawdown limit. So whatever the overall account drawdown limit is, that's what you have available to trade with every day to win or lose. So a lot of futures prop firms, they have a lot tighter drawdown limits in my experience from what I've seen. So for instance, on Forex firms, you see like 5% daily drawdown limit is pretty standard, and 10% maximum drawdown limit is pretty standard. On futures, I've seen it be more like 2% daily drawdown limit and like a 5 or 6% maximum account drawdown limit. So they just have tighter drawdown limits typically on futures accounts. I don't know exactly why that is. I'm interested to see what my funded futures, how they align with that. Shadow Trade just says your stop loss is determined by your setup, right? Yes, it is. If yes, then how do you do when it's a large one? Do you take up to 20 pip stop loss, or what's the max you've ever taken? It depends on the pair. Every pair moves differently and has larger pip moves. GU will have a larger stop loss than EU. My EU stops are typically between 7 and 15, and my GU stops are typically between like 10 and 20. There have been some that are bigger. It really just depends how big of the displacement is and how big the fair value gap is, or how big the breaker is. I don't like to take trades that have massive stop losses, only because the likelihood that it can hit double that amount before the end of a day or a trading session is pretty low. That's why I like to stick with the smaller ones. I don't know what the largest one is that I've used, but if it's really big, I'll probably just pass and wait for a better setup. Sorry, I'm asking much questions. No, you can ask any questions you want. The more questions you guys ask, the more we can talk about. The more if you're asking that question, I promise you someone else is probably thinking that same question or a variation of that question too. So it gives us all something to talk about. So don't ever apologize for asking questions. That's why we're here. Ask all the questions you want. Brad, I've sent you on Twitter just a free trade copying stuff to MT5 if someone needs. Oh, cool. Let me go check it out. I'll go look and see what that is. Why can't I see that? Oh, the FX Blue. Yeah, so FX Blue is it's a trade copier. I use Social Trader Tools. I've never used FX Blue, but I am familiar. With FX Blue, but this is what Alpha Bridge was wanting everybody to see. So it's just a trade copier for MT5. Again, I've never used them. I don't have any experience with them, but it just allows you to, if you have multiple MT5 accounts, once you get up over like 3 accounts, like right now, I don't have to have a trade copier for these. I have enough time to set up every single account. I can just click through my MT5 terminal, set them all up, and be done with it. But once you get over about 3 accounts that you're trying to manage and copy trades to, it can become cumbersome and time consuming, and you can make mistakes. And so that's when a trade copier becomes pretty important to be able to manage all that stuff. But fxblue.com, if you are looking for a trade copier, it's one. I use Social Trader Tools, so they're both fine. They both do what they say they're going to do. Cisco says, sorry I didn't reply sooner. I was having lunch break with my family. My NU short is around half risk and profit at the moment, so you might do break even like you suggested. Challenge, this NU short is my second trade. Yesterday's EU lost 1%. Cool. Well, it looks like you're about 0.5% back up then, almost back up to break even. So I would probably want to move to break even before that news hits. And you just have to understand that that news could hit and it could send you to your take profit, and you might miss it. But that news could hit and it could also just jump your stop loss and you lose more than you intended. So that's the only reason I would recommend moving to break even there. John says, gotcha. Cool. I'm also now around 20 minutes behind the stream, so likely will be delayed responses still if you ask more questions. No worries. I can't chat you on Twitter. You're not accessible. Really? Others are sending me all the DMs. I'm not sure why you can't shadow trades. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's keeping you from being able to do that, but I definitely have my settings in such a way that I know I can. It's letting me message you. Maybe this will start the conversation. There, I just sent you a DM, and now you should be able to message me back if you need to. MT5 terminal is just, it's the software you use to execute your orders. So MT4 and MT5, they're pretty much how all Forex traders manage and execute their trades. So a terminal is just, it's the window that I have open on this other PC laptop. So I have my MacBook in front of me that I'm using to stream and capture, and I do all of my media and tech with the MacBook, but I have a small laptop PC over here to my left that I have. The only thing it runs is MT5. So that's all I have on it, and it just runs MT5. Slide into my DMs. Yeah, I don't know why. You should be able to click on my profile name on Twitter and just, there should be a little like envelope button or something right there that you should be able to click. If you click on my profile, and I did just send you a DM shadow trades into your Twitter. So you now have, I know you should be able to reply to that at bare minimum if you need to get a hold of me for anything. Meanwhile, we're just chilling. This is a pretty slow, choppy Tuesday morning right now. We're into the 8 o'clock hour. It just opened. I imagine we're going to see some movement here in the next 30 minutes, but until then, there's just really nothing to do. Oh. I've been following all the stories on the fires that burned up that town in Hawaii. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, what is going on with the camera? Whoa. Hello. What the heck, man? Why is it doing that? There we go. Just had to reset it for a second. So you don't place your orders with TradingView. No, there's no prop firms currently allow you to use TradingView to execute your trades. Not with Forex. Futures, yes, several of the prop firms allow you to trade directly from TradingView on futures, but so far, no prop firms, no Forex-based prop firms use TradingView solely as a way to execute. Sadly, I wish they did. I wish I just had to have one monitor open and I could do it all off of one screen all at the same time, but Muhammad, I caught your yawning habit. I'm sorry. If I yawn, she's just talking about it. Oh, you just talk about it and it triggers the yawns. So I apologize. What's up, Red Ezekiel? Welcome in, buddy. LOL, they saw your stream saying they should pay you for not paying for the watermark. Yeah, I guess. They decided just to screw up my focus all of a sudden. Would my funded futures let you? Yes, I believe my funded futures will have TradingView from day one. At least that's what they've said. AMP, I know, is available on TradingView. So TradingView just uses an API to connect to your brokerage that you're using. And I know they're talking to AMP right now, which AMP is available on TradingView. There was another one that they mentioned in their tweets, and I can't remember what it was. But I know that they have said from day one it will be TradingView execution. Maven Prop Firm offers TradingView. On what broker do they use? What broker does Maven use? Oh. Man, oh man. Not sure. Heard one of their officials say it. I wonder if they have Maven Prop Firm. What broker are we using and what spreads and what are the commissions? We trade on 8cap. Now 8cap can be connect. 8cap, obviously, I'm using the 8cap feed on TradingView, so I know that that's an option. I don't know why though. There's something on the back end with all the prop firms. I think because they all have their own unique, I guess, like they can set up, even though a lot of these prop firms are using 8cap, they all have different spreads and for the pairs. And so one, like on the spread right here, you can see the difference between the bid and the ask. On my chart for the actual MT5 terminal directly from 8cap with Bespoke, there is no spread. These two lines are identical. So it could be that they can't use 8cap specifically because it's different spreads based on the prop firm you're using. So, but it doesn't say anything about TradingView. Yeah, I don't see special features, Web3 integration. There's nothing on their site that is featuring TradingView, so that makes me think that they're not using TradingView, because if they were, they would definitely be advertising that. 100%. Oh, what a boring Tuesday, man. What a boring Tuesday. Sitting around doing absolutely nothing. Red Ezekiel, I'm not opposed to taking a trade, but this close to the news, I'm not going to take a trade, no. If we were already in a trade right now, I'd probably be fine with it, but I'm not going to enter a trade this close to news. We have this 15-minute candle's halfway through, or a little more than halfway through, and then we just have one more before the news hits, and there's no setup. There's no setup for me here, so we're just waiting. Waiting for some direction, waiting for some volatility, waiting for some displacement to do something. Do something, man. Come on. Ugh. I can stay on. How late can I stay on today? I know I've got to be somewhere, but it's yeah. I can probably stay on until the 9:30 open today. So about another hour and 15 minutes. We should be able to get a 2.5 hour stream in today. That would be a breaker. These are the last two down close candles before we ran liquidity. And And depending on how far the displacement goes, you can use other candles, either this set of candles, or this candle here, or even this candle here. So it just depends on if we actually get displacement through, then we'll see. GU reaching back up and taking out a little swing high right there. Could you explain how you incorporate higher time frame with this setup? Yeah, I'm really just trying to determine where my draw on liquidity is on a higher time frame. So between the weekly and the daily, I'm trying to look and see where is my higher time frame draw on liquidity. And for me, it's short term, at least right now, it's short term bearish on the foreign pairs, the foreign dollar pairs. So EU, GU, I am short term bearish here. I think long term, we're still in this big uptrend. And I think long term, we will be bullish, but I don't know. I think short term, we're still a little bearish. So on the daily time frame, I'm looking at and thinking, okay, we just displaced below Friday's low aggressively yesterday. We're still currently inside yesterday's, but because we displaced below here yesterday and closed below here, here, and here, yesterday's low is where my draw on liquidity is. Plus, you have this swing level down here on the 4 hour that it didn't run to. It left it in place yesterday. So it came right to it and then pulled back. We're back up into an OTE of this order block. We're rejecting off of it. So because I am bearish on a higher time frame, because my draw on liquidity on the higher time frames are below me, I'm only going to be looking for setups in that direction. And that means I'm going to need to see a run of liquidity that goes against where my ultimate draw on liquidity is. So I want to see a stab up into buy side liquidity, just like we had yesterday. I was bearish yesterday. I wanted to see a stab up into liquidity, which we had. And then I want to see, after you stab up, I want to see displacement down away from that in the direction that I want to go. So it displaces away and then pulls back. This just happened after our session. So this entry, which actually ended up being a 1-2 winner and a little bit more, happened around 12:45 yesterday, which is after my entry time. So I couldn't take that trade. But that's how the higher time frame helps me avoid counter trend trades. Just as long as my bias is in line with the market on the higher time frame draw on liquidity, then I'll just only be looking for trades that go in that direction. So if I'm short bias, the initial move I need to see is up. I want to see price move up and grab buy side liquidity if I want to go short. So that's the first thing that needs to happen, which we're seeing happen here. Currently, it's stabbing back up into buy side liquidity, taking out intermediate and short-term highs, and rebalancing fair value gaps and liquidity voids. So that's how the higher time frame comes into play. Any pair that I'm looking at, I'm going to try. That's where I'm going to start. Is where is the higher time frame draw on liquidity? Once I identify that, then I'll only be looking for setups in that direction. Webcam down. I don't know what's going on with the webcam today. It's kind of weird. I could use the laptop one. It's just not as good as a webcam, and I don't like the angle on it. It puts it coming up my nose. If I use if I use this one, I think it's going to look just fine, but it's just you're going to have to stare up my nostrils the whole time. And so that looks miserable. I like this angle better. I just need it to stop going in and out of focus. And probably if I stopped moving around so much and gave it something to focus on, it'd be fine. If I was a real pro, I'd have like 2 or 3 cameras, and I could have like a little switcher, and we could just go to different camera angles, like a true broadcast. All right, last 15-minute candle here before news comes out. The 360 view, yeah. That could be a nice little interesting take on the live stream. Yeah, it says, yeah, you're right. Price took out the high. Now it's making lower low. It's trying to. We need to see displacement through this level here. This would be our first opportunity for a breaker. This would be our second opportunity for a breaker. This is our third opportunity for a breaker. And these would probably be our final opportunities for breakers. So we'll just have to wait and see. If we get a pop up on news and we grab more buy side liquidity here, then we would have a new opportunity for a breaker with these candles. So these down close candles, if they initiate, maybe with the news, if they initiate a run up into buy side and then we get displacement away, these would become breakers. So currently we're respecting this. We violated this fair value gap. So we've now closed below that fair value gap. This order block hasn't been violated yet, but we've traded back through 50% of it. So your thoughts on using 2 or more strategies on challenge and funded account? All for it. All for it. If you have the data and the stats, then yes, you can definitely use multiple strategies. I am not opposed to you using multiple strategies if you can execute them all at a high level. So as long as they don't conflict with each other and, cause you to have paralysis of analysis, basically, where you don't know which one you should be using. If you have some way to determine which strategy you should be using, depending on what the setup looks like, then I'm all for multiple strategies. Now, I think you only need one, and that's kind of why I'm only using one on this stream right now. I may do. Someone else suggested doing getting another 10K challenge and just doing a different strategy with it. And seeing which one could potentially get you to 2 million in funding faster. So that's an interesting idea that I'm contemplating as well. But I'm fine with multiple strategies. Most people have multiple tools in their tool bag to get the job done. So a carpenter doesn't just have a hammer and a saw. He's got different versions of hammers, different versions of saws, and other tools that help him do his job. And I think as a trader, it's good to have multiple tools in your tool bag to get the job done. So one is plenty. You only need one strategy. And if you can exercise patience, it will pay off if that strategy has an edge in the market. My bets are on a sell. Hopefully we will get an entry. Yeah, maybe. I'm definitely short. I'm more bearish bias here, so maybe we'll get it set up. Alphabridge says, yeah, if you're using multiple strat, you have to trade on 1 or 2 markets. If you use only one strat, then you can trade multiple markets. Yeah, I mean, you the biggest problem with using multiple strategies, like I said, is you can. It's more mental energy that you have to expend, and the more mental energy you're expending, the more likely you are to introduce error into your trading system. So, keeping it focused and mastering one setup is kind of my thing. It's like that's all you need to do. If you can just master one setup and then just sit and wait for that setup to form. And if it takes 4 days or 5 days or a week, or like we had 2.5 weeks without a trade, then that's what happens. And you just sit and be patient and wait. There's no rush. There's no race. This isn't a competition against anyone else or any other trader or whatever. It's just the competition is yourself. And can you be a master of yourself? And if you can, then you're probably going to be okay in the long run. If you can't be patient, you're going to get hammered. You will get chewed up and spit out. Cisco says on yesterday's trade, would you have canceled the order after price hit your target before giving you the entry? That is why we canceled it. Once price hit our sell side liquidity target, we canceled the trade. So yes, if when you get a big move like this, if it doesn't give you a pullback pretty much on that next candle after displacement, if it's going to run the sell side liquidity, which was this red line area, once it ran that, we canceled that order. Once it runs your drawn liquidity, it could just be setting up a reversal. That's why you need that liquidity to not get tagged in right away on that displacement leg. 1% on $2 million is totally life-changing. Oh, it'd be life-changing to probably anyone. It's 20 grand, and if you're making 85% of 20 grand, that's over $16,000. Most people can live very comfortably on $16,000 a month if you could do 1% a month. That's 16 grand. That's a very healthy, comfortable living in the States. And in other parts of the world, you're living like a true king in other parts of the world on that kind of money. GU is getting away, in my opinion. Price fill 15-minute fair value gap, and we'll just run through the equal lows with the news. Maybe. I mean, you got relative equal lows here. It definitely stabbed here, came back down, box set up, and has retraced up. It's in a range right now, so GU isn't as clean as EU looks, but it's failing to make a new high currently. We got about 6 more minutes here before the news comes out. It's stabbed up into liquidity, but it has failed to displace lower. So we'll see what happens when the news comes out. We've got news tomorrow on GU. Their inflation rate comes out tomorrow morning, 2 a.m. New York time. Oh, gosh. I could live off that a year, John Lau says. That's what I'm saying. And depending on where you live around the world, $16,000, you might be able to live for an entire year on that, depending on what country you're in. In the States, I mean, depending on your standard of living, you know, it's different for everybody, but $16,000 is extremely comfortable. What is that, like $180,000 a year or something like that? Curious, do you still read trading books at present? I haven't read, the last trading book I read was Best Loser Wins, and I've read it a couple times. But I'm not currently reading any trading specific book. I'm always reading though. I just reread Atomic Habits. It's a great book. Um, I'm always looking for. I'm more into podcasts right now. Trading psychology. Well, just general self improvement podcasts, self leadership, self motivation, self discipline, that kind of stuff. So I'm always kind of just filling my head, trying to fill my head and my brain with the right stuff. USA is very much expensive to live in. I mean, I guess it can be. Again, it's all relative based on where you are in the world and your culture and your context. I mean, even in America, $16,000 is a lot of freaking money. That's not chump change. That is a lot of money. USA is very much expensive. Oh, in Houston, how much cost a modern house on average? I want to say an entry level house, which in Houston it's going to be a nice house. It's probably going to be a 3 bedroom, you know, 2 bath, 2 car garage with a decent sized yard. You're probably looking at around $300,000. Now, if you're wanting to get in I mean, that's going to be entry level, like starter home kind of. It's not going to have any like super nice upgrades or anything like that. But if you want something that's a little bit nicer, you're probably in the 450,000 to $500,000 is probably where your middle America is probably looking to buy, is in that 450 to $500,000 price range. The area that I live in, the median income is probably around somewhere between $80 and $100,000 a year. But we live down here. I mean, I live kind of in the Clear Lake area. NASA's down here, so there's a ton of engineers and all that kind of stuff. Also, there's a lot of refineries, and petroleum industry is big down in this area too. So, you know, it's right smack the definition of what middle America income looks like. There are definitely rich people around here, but the vast majority of people, you know, it's a 2 income family. The husband and wife are both working, and they're probably making together combined, they're probably making into, you know, $100,000 to $150,000 a year, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but that's probably generally where most people around here in this part of Houston, that's kind of the socioeconomic demographic. All right, news is coming up here in about 20 seconds. We'll see if we can get any kind of displacement or movement. Maybe for the rest of the session, we can get some kind of cue here. I'm going to pull up the Forex Factory. All right, there you go. Big ol' initial drop down. Big drop down, big displacement, big news for the dollar. Again, I'm bullish on dollar, which is why we're anticipating that. So they were forecasting a 0.4 and it came in at 0.7. So it is definitely retail sales came in hotter than expected. And there's your displacement down. The CAD came in at, their CPI was expected to be at 0.3, came in at 0.6. And then their median and trimmed CPI came in at expectation. So their inflation numbers came in a little bit hotter than they were expecting. Core retail sales came in at 1.0. They were expecting 0.4%. The Empire State Manufacturing Index, they were expecting negative 0.9, and it came in at negative 19. So the manufacturing index got hammered, and retail sales increased. So now that you're getting this pump here down into sell side liquidity, if the dollar can rally against the CAD here, you might get some displacement there. GU, again, we're going to need this 15-minute candle to close so that we can see where we end up. Make sure that this isn't just any kind of big, just a liquidity grab on the sell side here. So we have 13 minutes for this candle to close. Nothing to do for the next 13 minutes except watch and see if we get any kind of continued displacement through certain areas here. You can see the at the 8:30 market open here, big gap down on that news for NAS. S&P is showing a lot of weakness. US 30 already taken out the lows. These other indices haven't quite taken out those same lows yet. I would anticipate that happening. If the dollar is going to show strength, which it currently is, you would anticipate the index is showing some weakness today. Question is will we get an opportunity to, will our setup reveal itself and give us a chance to participate here? We'll see. Good afternoon, Bakong. How are taxes on trading in U.S.? They're not great. Capital gains, they hit you pretty good, but I mean, you're going to get taxed on any income you make. When you're not trading 2 million, it's just 100K. 10% is all you can play with, so treat it like 100K. Yeah, not a bad a way to think about it. Trading night, always wondering how the average people could afford such a nice house with normal jobs. It's the most expensive time in history to buy a home right now in the United States. I'm not sure how it is in other parts of the world, but it's never been more expensive to buy a home. Inflation, economy, all of that, everything going into play there. I was telling you, man, I was expecting prices to go for the lows right after the news. Yeah, somebody did say that. I would not disagree. I mean, I still think that your larger drawn liquidities down here. So we do still have quite a bit of the London session low right here has been left in place currently on GU. EU, it's taken it out. Dollar has taken out the Asian session highs. Euro has taken out the Asian session lows. So still in correlation, everything is moving together here. Still have about 10 more minutes on this candle to go. LOL says we don't pay tax on trading profit. Ooh, what country is that? It's a pretty sweet deal. Michael, do you consider prop firm payouts as normal tax since it's technically the prop firm paying you for managing their money? It is a 1099, so I'm paid as an independent contractor. So it's not capital gains. It's only capital gains on your own income. So any investments off of your personal accounts or trading profits off of your personal accounts, those are capital gains. But prop firm money is you're paid as an independent contractor. So you're only getting taxed as basically you're running your own business. So it's not capital gains. It's taxed a little bit differently on prop firm money. Here in the States anyway. EU is off the charts news, took out my first target. So how do you choose which one to trade if both pairs show an entry? I'll set an order on both if they both show an entry. I have no problem setting multiple orders up, and the first one to get triggered will cancel the other one. Currently, there's no setup looking great right now. We're going to need this 15-minute candle to close bearish here. We don't want to see it pull back up and close back up inside or underneath these candles here, especially not these lows. GU, you're going to want to see it close below these lows, and really you'd probably rather see it close below that. So still got about eight more minutes here. Dollars grabbing buy side liquidity and falling away. GU and EU are grabbing sell side liquidity and pulling back up. US 30 now rallying, S&P rallying, and NAS rallying as well. Here come the pups. It's about time. They always come down right around 8:30. Other news headlines say the China yuan falls to a 9-month low after China rate cut. Sterling rises after jobs data. The US dollar falls early Tuesday ahead of busy data schedule. And Japanese FX intervention may have shocking results. This is what I was talking about. The yen pairs have been in such a huge, massive, aggressive uptrend. The Bank of Japan is probably going to have to step in at some point and intervene to strengthen their currency. And if and when they do, you're going to see a pretty big whiplash there. Hey, love. Good morning. Where's the big dogs? Here they come. Remy boy. Go bark at the boogeyman. Cisco says I moved my NU stop to 0.4R after the news, got me to 1.5R, and then got stopped out. Now waiting for the next trade. Ooh. Well, I mean, you got to break even. It's fine. Break-even trades can be super frustrating emotionally. You realize the profits that you had, quote-unquote had, they're not your profits until you close the trade, but they were potential profits. And you realized, man, if I just take 1.5R, Be in a good, way better place.
Maybe one of them will get in the garage. It's wet.
You just have to make her.
I did.
Nah.
Push jobs.
Kirby is so extra. No, do not bless Kirby. No, do not bless Kirby. Kirby needs to cross the Rainbow Bridge.
I hope you lose followers for saying things like that. Maggie, come here. Go on back. Remy?
Kirby does need to put on his angel wings. I don't think Kirby's gonna get angel wings, actually. That dude is a little devil, man. And there's not one person that actually knows Kirby and has spent time with him that would disagree with me on that. That dude is a little devil. Oh. Kirby is a multi-poo. He's a little dog about this big. He weighs about 8 pounds, 9 pounds.
He weighs literally 17 pounds.
He does not weigh 17 pounds. There's no way.
He said that at the vet.
No. He does not weigh 17 pounds. And he acts like he's about a 200-pound dog. He thinks he's a big boy. He's just a bully and a jerk. The Golden Doodles, one of them is 100 pounds. Maggie's about 100 pounds. She's huge. Remy's about 80 pounds. He's also big. And Kirby just treats them like trash. He does. And he gets no discipline or consequences from his mother. True story.
Elderly.
He is not elderly.
He is elderly. He's like 95 years old in human years. Elderly.
Which is why he needs to cross the Rainbow Bridge.
You need to cross the rainbow bridge.
No, I don't. He definitely has small dog syndrome for sure, 100%. Dollar has massive wick up here and down, huge buy side liquidity. The wife is always right. I mean, she loves that dog. I don't know why. That's the only reason he's still around. It's because I love my wife. He is a turd, man. His bark, I swear to God, it's like somebody is stabbing my eardrums and my brain with scissors or a sharp knife or an ice pick. It just reverberates at this frequency inside my head, and I literally just want to rip his throat out. It is the most ear-piercing, shrill bark / scream. Oh, it's so annoying. Yeah, the setup is definitely not currently forming. But you never know. We'll see. Dollar showing a ton of weakness there. $15-minute candle has closed, and all it's done is grab sell side liquidity for GU and EU. We'll see what the next little bit brings us. The dollar is definitely showing weakness here. Failure to displace above and make a new high. So we could be coming back. Again, this is the daily fair value gap right here. Let's just refresh our mind, and just because we may not get a setup today doesn't mean we won't get another good one this week. Remember, this daily fair value gap here held price down. Once we traded through it and violated it yesterday, this now becomes an inverted daily fair value gap. We're still trading inside yesterday's high and low, which may be what we do all day today. I mean, we may not get outside of yesterday's high and low. But I would anticipate if we're going to come back down into this daily fair value gap, that this would act as an inverted daily fair value gap and now would begin to push price higher. So even if it's not today, that's fine. Not a big deal. There's nothing to be like, oh my God, we didn't get our setup today. Like, there's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get disappointed. There's no reason for any of that. It can come back down into this daily fair value gap range. We can have some weakness. And maybe today or tomorrow, maybe if it's not today, maybe tomorrow you take out yesterday's low and you touch into this daily fair value gap right here that's inside this inverted one, and the Wednesday low then starts the reversal and you get your expansion higher. So we're still inside yesterday's range, and as long as we stay inside there, you're just going to have choppy price action. So we may not get much of anything to play out there. Psycho statements. I'm just telling you guys, if you guys spent just even an hour with Kirby around, you would understand what I'm talking about.
Talking about this.
They all think you have a very heavenly voice.
How do they hear my voice?
Well, you're talking and I have a microphone, so it comes through.
Heavenly?
That's what somebody said. Heavenly. Personally, I might get trade tomorrow. FOMC news usually provides choppy price action. Thursday and Friday we hunt. Yeah, we have FOMC minutes come out tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. So tomorrow morning could be choppy. Today could be choppy, and tomorrow could just be choppy until we get the FOMC minutes come out. And they will point to whether or not interest rate hikes are coming or not from those minutes. Yeah, dollar CAD had a very aggressive sell-off here after taking out this buy side. Oh, it didn't quite take that out, so that's real interesting. Now we have relative equal highs up here. May want to tap into this sell side here and then reverse higher, but it's leaving behind massive voids. So balanced price range, whenever you see a fair value gap that gets overlapped by a larger fair value gap, price will often want to come back up and rebalance some of that. That is an ICT concept as well. Oh man, what a just slow chop, man. It's just been a pretty crappy New York session. No real direction anywhere. Other than the news and a spike, we haven't really done anything of consequence. Price hasn't really given us any clue about where it wants to go and why it wants to go there. So don't want to get too personal, but how much funded capital right now outside the live stream used for payouts? Oh, the other funded account, I'm funded with 300K. Sir Dev, if this 1 hour candle closed bullish, we could expect prices higher on EU. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, you can see why that might be the case, why you might want to come back up off of this candle. But if it closes bearish, doesn't necessarily, just because it has this big news rejection wick, doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna come up back up into this 4 hour order block. I mean, we could. Again, this was my initial draw. I was looking to see a high of the week form inside of this order block, this breaker block, sorry. So that could still be happening. And that could be later today. It could be tomorrow, maybe London session or FOMC minutes or something like that. I don't know that I'm going to stay on until 9:30 if this is what price is going to do. It's just so dumb. I'm going to wait one 15-minute candle into the 9 o'clock hour. And if we don't get some price movement or some volatility off of that, we'll probably just call it a day today. There's no reason to sit around any longer. It's just looks like it's going to be one of those days today. Just not much of anything going on. We're just chopping inside here, GU, chopping inside here in EU. So, just nothing. Big fat nothing. Dollar CAD's the only one that gave us a big move, and it's held after that price and the news delivery. So, we'll see if it wants to come down here into these equal lows. Man, boring, boring. The setup I was hoping to get did not materialize, and that was we have a clear run of buy side liquidity off of these highs. We take out old swing highs to the left. We were hoping to get displacement through and the closures, good strong closures below these candles here. We didn't get them. We thought we were going to get them when the news hit. Didn't materialize. GU, very similar. We were hoping to get some displacement through there. We almost got it, and then it's pulled back up. So now we're just back up into the chop. We're back into the chop. And that means we're very likely not going to have an opportunity to take a trade today, which is fine. See you, Mr. Alfie. We'll be back tomorrow after Lee Bekong. I was also looking for that weekly profile Tuesday high of the week. Yeah, and we may still get it. we may still get it. We'll see. If not, it could be tomorrow. My thought on GJ is we're on a huge bull. We can look for a buy after relative equal lows around 184, 342 gets taken and target the equal highs above. It's kind of what I'm expecting and anticipating to see some of these, see some of the sell side get run into and swept and then displacement higher. So that's kind of what I would be expecting. The Bank of Japan, just be careful with the yen pairs because the Bank of Japan is going to need to step up and do something to strengthen their currency. And when they do, you're going to get a big whip like this down. That's kind of what happened here. But they're going to have to step in and intervene. And when they do, you're going to see a big push and a big retrace, depending on what it is they do. And it could come out of the blue. They don't have to schedule it. They don't have to announce it. They don't have to have a meeting about it. They will often, the Bank of Japan often will just do something random at times, and it will have a massive shock on the market with the yen pairs. So, but yeah, you got very clean lows under here. You got lows under here, relative equal lows here. I mean, there's all kinds of sell side liquidity they've engineered that hasn't been touched yet. So I would rather see something like that get hit and then displace higher for an opportunity to continue the bullish trend. About 3 more minutes here. Oh. What a boring day. If you guys haven't yet hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. It does help out the stream. It's not, I mean, it's not like a huge deal if you don't, but it does help out the stream a little bit. The more people engage with that, the more it pushes out the content onto other people's recommended for you pages kind of stuff. And it, you know, just helps pump the exposure of the stream out. So $15-minute breaker with a fair value gap on EU. I don't see it. I don't see any breaker on EU because you have to have displacement below the breaker. This, even though this candle wicked down, you need a closure. You need a strong bearish closure below the order block, and you didn't get it. This is not a strong closure below that order block. You would want to see you would have wanted to see a candle that had a big body like this below. Then you could have looked at a fair value gap entry off of that. But this is not a break of structure. This is just a liquidity grab from news that couldn't hold down. So that's the unfortunate part. All right, coming into the 9 o'clock hour here, dollar's definitely, it grabbed some buy side. It's grabbed a little bit of sell side here and pulling back up. GU grabbing some more buy side. It's just so choppy. It's just disgusting. It's taken out all of the sell side trend line liquidity here. Anybody that was a trend line trader just got liquidated on that news. That's correct, Muhammad. No displacement, no entry. You had step one. Step one is a run of liquidity in the opposite direction. Got it. You need displacement through an order block. And you didn't get that. So it's rule 2 does not get checked off, so there's no trade. Rule 2 is there displacement through the order block? If you can say yes, then rule 3 is there a fair value gap inside the breaker? If that's a yes, then you can say, did it run all of the sell side liquidity? If you say no, then you can set your entry order. So it's basically 4 rules. Rule 1, buy side liquidity. Rule 2, displacement. Rule 3, fair value gap. Rule 4, is there still a draw on liquidity to be had? If yes, if all that is yes, those 4 things check yes, you set your orders and then you just let it roll. Coming back up into this, again, the large fair value gap here on both sides, you would anticipate that it comes back up, at least up into this wick right here, potentially, if it's going to show more weakness. It did leave this sell side liquidity in place down here, so on $CAD. All right, y'all, I think I'm going to call it a stream for the day. It's just choppy, ugly action right now. There's not anything. I'll keep my chart on my phone open, and if something develops between now and the next hour and a half, I'll be sure to post that out on Twitter. I will be working on the Discord setup the rest of the day today. I made pretty good headway on it yesterday. So maybe today I post that out, but if not, it'll probably be tomorrow. But just be sure you're following me over there on Twitter. And if something comes out, that's where it'll show up, and then we'll get that set up and going this week, and we can all hang out off the stream a little bit and catch up and talk all things trading over there too. So, but anyway, you guys stay safe out there. Happy hunting if you're going to stay on the charts for the rest of the day. But that's going to be it for me today. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Adios, y'all.